In this video, we're going to look kind of how to do a quick version of an ear without putting tons and tons of detail with it still looking pretty believable. The first thing I want to kind of note is the ear itself, like we're thinking of often about different forms and as we're kind of drawing different structures, if you're kind of thinking of, if you're thinking of the face itself, and you kind of have your different kind of forms involved in your face here. The ear itself, how the ear sits, you can kind of think of, so this is kind of like a zoomed in version, you can kind of think of it like, you can kind of think of your ear as kind of like this, like kind of a bowl version, but it doesn't come off your head like that. Actually, it's kind of like it's cut a little bit. So it's actually quite a bit kind of wider here, or has more kind of protrusion from your head here, and then a little bit less here. So you can kind of think of it, it's kind of, kind of like that off the head. So there's more kind of coming off the top here. Another thing I want to mention is that there's different types of kind of ear lobes and how they connect. So sometimes there is quite a lot of space from between the lobe and it connects really high. Another version, you can think of it as there is almost no lobe and it like connects directly with the ear. And then of course there's something in between as well. I want to look really how to do kind of a quick version of this if we want to draw the ear in some detail that's believable but is not entirely accurate in that sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump on another layer here, and I want to kind of start analyzing the kind of the structure of this ear. So we're going to look at like the interior lines of the ear, And this is just kind of a quick version. As I said, it's not focused in realism. I'm going to grab just a different color here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to kind of draw this outer edge of the ear that's here. And I'm going to kind of do my own version on this side. So this is number 1. That's the first thing you want to do. I'm going to jump a color. The second thing you want to do, number 2, is you want to bring in kind of this sense here, and we're going to kind of imply that just by putting in this kind of line, because there is often a shadow underneath there. So this is kind of just implying that mass that's sitting above. The third thing we want to do is we want to kind of start kind of implying this area. I'm just going to grab a different color, and we want to imply this. I'm not going through the different portions of the ear, but we're going to kind of do kind of like this portion that's in here, and you do kind of want to memorize, you kind of want to get the feel of this. I'm actually going to extend the previous color maybe a little bit longer. Let me just color pick this. I'm gonna go down here, and you want to do this connection here. There's this kind of portion here that we're going to imply, that's going to go kind of sit here, and then we're going to do this line here. So I'm going to come around, and I'm kind of going to do kind of like something like that. I went out a little bit too far, actually. I should stay within the ear. So this is kind of implying kind of like that portion of the ear. The fourth thing we want to do is we want to include like this portion here. I'm going to go over 4, and we're going to kind of imply this by just bringing kind of a shape in here, or a line in here, to imply that fold. And the final thing is we want to include, see what color I didn't use. We want to include kind of the different kind of elements in here, that it's not flat. And you can kind of do this by kind of showing that in here. So this is a quick way, really, really quick way of kind of implying details of the ear. And I like to kind of memorize this, and kind of, again, it'll vary a little bit. You might choose not to put in these lines sometimes. Just kind of giving you some kind of general, like a quick shorthand version to do in here. Another one that I found useful and I've seen as well is like if we're looking at the face kind of directly on, is and again I'm going to block in where my eyebrows and my nose are, so I kind of know where my ear is. When you're doing this kind of an ear, you're not seeing the whole portion of the ear, obviously, and typically it's kind of comes out more on the top, as we noted previously with the form. Sometimes like that kind of a line implies enough information in within the ear as well. That ear feels a little bit too long for me, but just again, you can also do something like that to give that kind of idea of the interior lines of the ear. So again, another just quick hand version, lots of different ways to do this. Please feel free to research some of those also on your own.